just want to share with you a thought for today. And as I've probably shared before, I love to have a project, something to do, something to make, something to build and create. And I've had many projects, many of which have been completed and many of which have just ended up on a shelf waiting for another day when I will come back and give it another try. One that sticks in my mind is that years ago I went to the seaside for a holiday, and on the beach was this piece of rusty old steel. And to most people it wouldn't look of much interest, but I thought it had a beautiful form and shape and the way that it had been eroded over years in the sea. And I brought it home and I thought, right, I'm going to mount this on a nice piece of wood and I'm going to put it in my house and it'll look really nice and interesting. It'll be a conversation piece. But it's still sat in the plastic bag that I brought it home with. It's still in the box that I put it in the garage, waiting to be done, because it's actually quite difficult to do. I maybe don't have the tools or the skills necessary to do it, to complete it to the idea that I have in my head. And Lydia enjoys a project too, and of late she's been doing lots of puzzles, large puzzles, 1,000-piece puzzles, and she sits there for hours at a time, putting one piece, another piece, and another piece. And as she's doing it, she can see her pictures coming together. And there's that great satisfaction when a puzzle is completed. There's nothing more frustrating than a 1,000-piece puzzle that's got 2 pieces missing. But there's a real sense of achievement when we complete a project. And I was thinking that our prayer lives ought to be like a project that we work through, that we're committed to and dedicated to. But actually sometimes our prayer lives can be more like the projects that get shelved, that after a little while we get demotivated, that we don't see things happening in the way that we've asked or would desire, that our prayers are answered but perhaps not in the way that we wanted. And so we get demoralized and we start to begin to stop praying, or to stop praying as regularly. And in Luke 18, 1-8, Jesus tells a parable, and he tells the parable because he wants us to pray always and to not lose heart. And this parable, this story, is about a lady who goes to a judge, and she wants justice for a situation, and he's this high and mighty, and he decides that he's not going to grant justice to anybody, and he's just not a good judge. But this lady, she pesters him. She goes to him repeatedly, over and over and over and over again, and it wears him down to the point where he decides that if he doesn't grant her justice, she's just going to do his head in. And so he grants her the justice. He grants her the desires of her heart. And Jesus is encouraging us to pray like this. Anybody who's ever had kids will know what it's like to be asked for sweets. Daddy, Mummy, can I have sweets? No. Daddy, Mummy, can I have sweets? No. Daddy, Mummy, can I have sweets? Okay, if you'll just be quiet, you can have the sweets. And Jesus is encouraging us to pray like this. He's encouraging us to persist, to wear God down, if you like. And I don't know how you sit with theology like that, but actually Jesus is encouraging us to do this, to persist in prayer until our prayers are answered. Do we want to pray as persistent pests? I don't know, it's worth a try, isn't it? But I think in this day and age where we're fed up of being in lockdown, where we've been in lockdown for numerous weeks, where we want to be able to get back together, where we want a vaccine to be found, where we want to be able to meet with friends and family, this is a time to pray always and to not lose heart. So I encourage you to take any amount of time that you're able and to call out to God and to tell him what it is that you want, what's on your heart, and to persist in that prayer until we see the answers. May God bless you. May God hear your cry. Take care. God bless.